Hi, this is Margaret Byrd, and welcome to Color Quest, and welcome back to our exploration of the silver dollar eucalyptus. We've been doing echo printing with it over the past few weeks, and we've looked at two mordants to see how they might be different, including alum and tannin. And today, I want to see what kind of magic one of my absolute favorite mordant and modifiers is iron could do to these botanical prints with eucalyptus. Now, I am a huge fan of iron for so many different reasons. Known as ferrous sulfate, it is a mordant that can be used, but it may be more famously known as a modifier, and it will shift colors. However, it's also a metal and therefore has the same binding power as things like aluminum sulfate. And it attracts natural color to stick and bond with the fiber. So it can actually be used as a mordant as well. So when you start to work with iron, you know that you're going to have a print or a color that's going to last. Today, we'll be using it as a mordant, so a pre-treatment. And typically modifiers are used as a post-treatment, where you might do something to your fiber with a natural color or print and then put it into iron to seal it and shift it. But today we're going to start off by treating our fibers right in an iron bath. So let's go ahead and measure our fiber and make our iron bath so that we can get building our botanical print. Now, iron or ferrous sulfate comes in a powder form. So when handling it, you're going to want to be wearing gloves because it can be irritating to the skin, as well as a mask in the beginning so that you're not breathing in any of the dust fumes. Once you've made your bath, however, you can take your mask off. It's safe, and it's also safe to put down your drain, so don't worry about that as well. Although you should be saving your iron baths for more than one use. You know how we love to repurpose. And speaking of repurposing, we are going to be using a piece of plastic in today's video as a barrier. And this is a piece of repurposed plastic. I save the packing material that I get from different things that are shipped to my home, and I use this plastic again and again. You know how I love to repurpose things and recycle, so always keep an eye out for those kinds of things that you can stash away into your dye studio to use again and again. All right, it's time to build our print. Get creative with how you use your eucalyptus leaves. Feel free to move them around. Know that the top and the bottom of the leaf both print, so you don't have to worry too terribly much about that. And just see where your creative spirit takes you. Now we're going to be steaming today, and with eucalyptus leaves as well as other leaves, you need more time in the steam. So we're going to be looking at keeping these in for about 3 hours. Now, I had a little problem with boiling off my steam water, so always keep an eye on that. And since I don't have a big enough pot to do everything on my dowels and put a top on, I have to be putting the dowels right into the water. I'm going to be wrapping them in tin foil, which should protect it from water seeping in. If you have water going onto your fiber directly, you're going to get a more watercolor effect with your print. And I'm hoping to get some really crisp prints, so steam is the way to go. Wrapping it in the tin foil, hopefully too, will keep in some of that heat and maybe help a little bit more with welcoming that eucalyptus print onto our fiber. Now the fun part, we get to unwrap everything. After I unwrap it, I'm going to rinse my fiber, and I'm also going to use a little bit of soap to wash my dowel as well as my repurposed plastic so that I can use them again in the future and not worry about iron as a contaminant. It does have a way of making its way around, and when it interacts with things like tannin, which we're going to look at next week, it can cause a black and gray effect to happen. So make sure to wash everything really well after you use it, especially when you're working with iron. As expected, iron never disappoints. It is such a powerful mordant in the world of botanical printing. So let's take a closer look at the results. We even got decent results on cotton this time. So iron may just be the mordant you choose to work with when you start off in botanical printing. All right, there you have it. Look at that. Wow. Okay, let's start with the silk. Silk's always going to be a winner with printing, but I mean, my gosh, look at those prints. And here we're getting this beautiful reaction. These black lines and dots are where the tannin is interacting with that iron. And I mean, look at how crisp and beautiful the lines are. Oh, look at the stem even. I mean, it is absolutely exquisite. We also got some really pretty bleeding here of the eucalyptus dye into that orange, and so I'm really happy with that print, and that background is just staying that beautiful white. Here we also got some really pretty just random marks on the silk tie that goes with this gift bag, and I really love it. We really got some dark blacks in there, and it's a super sweet combination. And then look at this. We got some really nice prints on cotton. They're a little bit more suggestive, but still we got some very defined outlines, and the black that comes around with these prints again just adds a really beautiful accent to the prints itself. So friends, iron is great as a modifier mordant for eco printing. Yeah, iron is just really one of my favorite tools to work with in my dye studio. It just can bring about so many surprising results, and I just love it. So remember that silk is always going to be the easiest fiber for you to start with if you're just getting started with botanical printing, and using something small like I am is a great way to get started. So look for some small pieces of silk around. See if you can find something like a handkerchief or a gift bag like I'm using. And then that gives you an opportunity to be experimenting before you get involved in doing something more precious, like a piece of clothing that you'd like to try for botanical printing. The cotton, however, did okay this time, and that's all thanks to iron. Now, we've looked at 3 different mordants with our eucalyptus leaves, alum, tannin, and iron. Let's start combining some of these next week on Color Quest when we look at using blankets as a tool for making even that much more beauty within our botanical prints with silver dollar eucalyptus. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Friday.